Music though. Nope. No, cannot play the music any longer. Alright. Well, there is no particular theme to this day's video other than drawing very small characters in my hell, in my Lako fire. Ba 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 ba. Yeah, you got a hell of a deep voice there, I noticed, on that soundtrack. Ooh. Ooh. La, 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 la. Scooby-Doo, yeah. If you docked, though, I'd let you sing into my video. That way you could really butter me up. Adding some loveliness to my YouTube channel. Man, nobody has a cam. That seems to be the likely story, the excuse everyone's using these days. I don't have a camera. No, but really, I do have one. Or, I mean, I don't have one. Well, I did listen to an Amendum video, and oh, well, glad you thought so. You mean the one with Piro? Piro docs. Piro's docked 2 of my videos so far. Mm, okay. Mm, Alright. Okay, let me finish drawing this here skull and skeleton down at the bottom. Oh, right on. Yeah, I was just, I was just watching a Do Not God video, and he was going on about, well, I live in the same world with roughly the same experiences as other people, and yet I can't get them to agree with me, so I'm going to condition them in a manner, condition them to agree with him. You know, this lake, I think a lake of fire should have waves in it. So, I'm on dock to do waves. Yeah, well, I've observed Gary at length for a while now. And even tried to mimic him at one point. Not his ideas, but do a little musical. So there's no love in hell. Nobody burning in hell can be hugging each other. Goes against the theme of being in hell. And demons, I have demons out of the lake of fire, even though I should put them in the lake of fire. Yeah, how to draw mangled people instead of just like, oh, we're just lounging in lava hot springs. Just kind of warming our bones sort of depiction. Instead, they need to be tearing their hair out. Writhing. Yes, I did. I had the feeling like I was going to hell. It was something I had never experienced before. It felt like a weird psychological focus that was coming upon me from external sources. But I can chalk this one up to a psychological event because there wasn't anything necessarily external to me. It was just this dot. Every day I woke up to this really focused dot in space that started to envelop me and gave me the sensation that I was burning internally, and that no matter what could do, possibly do, I was woven to go to hell, like that song that's popular on the radio now, talking about being hellbound. I don't know the song. Alright. But this is kind of just like a wading pool. Maybe I should have people doing the backstroke, spitting lava up. what have you. Yeah, I was talking about the dissemination or outsourcing of symbolism to other people. Let them see kind of my candy-coated hell here, and then they could formulate their own notions of hell. And your songs seem as if they're kind of um, antinatalist in form, like you were expressing kind of an antinatalist point of view. If I caught some of the lyrics correctly, that is. But they also didn't have that tone. They were obviously descriptions of other things as you saw them. Alright, yeah, we'll do a big Oregon hell here. Oh yeah, I wanted to do a big serpent of some sort swimming around down there. People with bubbling flesh. It's just I'm drawing too small of characters now. Well, I'm definitely no antinatalist. Personally, I think it's, if you don't want to have kids, that's fine, but the idea of promoting it as a policy, I think, is absurd, and I don't agree with Benatar's premises, and I don't believe that one must necessarily follow logical, even if you do consider his premises, I don't believe that that one must retain logical form in their thinking or in their practices. That by itself is logic as a mode of thinking. It's a recursive step-by-step stepping process that doesn't evaluate all of human thoughts or emotions. And I was just watching a video today about having gut instinct. Your gut tells you something. When you meet a certain person, you feel it in your organs in a particular fashion, differently than just thinking about things in your head, just thinking about systemic structuring of mind. So that's what I gotta say. Alright, so no, I don't want to draw that. Okay. So do you guys imagine anything that should be in a lake of fire? You can throw out. All ideas are appreciated. gonna do like an albino snake. Oh yeah, that's important. Interesting way of putting it. It's quite an extreme position, and the art is a physical representation of the mind's systemic harmony. I when I think about abstract artwork, I think a lot of times it's non-harmonic. You know, some splatter paintings are just simply about flopping the limbs around and letting the paint hit the canvas in kind of a not so harmonious way. But since this video is more particularly about nothing in particular, I can just feed off whatever anybody else types for the time being. Uh-oh, the Pookie's back. Alright. Kitty cat's in a safe distance. But that's why if anybody had anything particularly philosophical that they wanted to discuss, I'm all ears. Really trying my best to get in a kind of an anti-natural history mindset, kind of an anti-evolutionary mindset, kind of like the position one would have to be in order to deny such things is kind of a mode of thinking, a mode of releasing knowledges. Do artistic forms of expression, do they have inherent therapeutic value for me? In one way, yeah, but in another way, they kind of upset my serenity, so they're kind of not so therapeutic. Looking back on them is sometimes something I'm not too happy about seeing. Alright, that guy's got to be larger. I don't know, I guess the actual, pencil to canvas part is kind of therapeutic. It's kind of, a like it feels like work or a labor, like a job, like I'm getting something done on my job. And so that's therapeutic feeling. Let's see, what can I do here? You know, some artists sketch out their paintings before they ever apply anything to canvas. And I sketched out a few of the elements on here in a sketchbook, but kind of the discovery process of knowing that I'm working on the finish is, you know, it's different than just sketching in a sketchbook. But I don't know, I like it all the same. Let's go there. Yeah, and sometimes having people muse me by talking in the background really helps me just let the pencil go and the drawing kind of emerges, but other times I have to be in my head talking to the pencil in a way to make things happen. Alright. Well, if you're not an antinatalist, SB, then what's your fascination with Gary, or Gary's channel? Perhaps it's the same as mine, just listening to somebody else's point of view on something. Yeah, I thought a hellish idea was having a shallow watered lake instead of a really steep ledges, so that when things attempted to get out, they could be kicked back in. Right on. Yeah, it's interesting to compartmentalize them and put them into parts. And it's so funny that he thinks that people should naturally be agreeing with him. That's kind of funny. In a real ha-ha sort of way. Ha-ha, that's pretty funny. Ha-ha, ha-ha-ha. Oh. Today mostly I feel like listening to sounds, like I feel like listening to music, but I told myself I didn't want to make any of these videos where I was just playing music carte blanche of other people or other artists, because I didn't want any of my shows here to take on that kind of role, the role that has advertisements on them, that is. Alright. good. I get to do a big character again here. Shooting a beam out of its mind's eye at people in the lake. It's an element which I don't agree with in principle. Getting hungry, time for food. Gotta cook, back in 20. Shit, man, it only takes me 10 minutes to cook. Then I like to take my food in front of the TV, even though I don't own a TV. Uh-oh. Kitty! That means it's up to you, A, to type while SB's gone. Gotta keep me going. Say blood, shit. Misha, masha, hisha, washa, kisha, kasha, kissa, cat, and blimey, my rhymies really sucking timey. Oh, that's what I'll paint. I'll paint a woman with flapjack boobies. She'll be a big org. Some of the same characters I painted in a previous Hell painting. Great, people are talking about their diet. Nope. All right. Let's see who's on the horn here. Hello. Guess nobody's on the horn. Alright, yeah, I'll do this guy pouring oil into the hell pit and then burning it with flames coming out of its mouth. That sounds good. Sharpener time. We must sharpen the pencil. See, it's massage. It's It's kind of an affectionate, good feeling. It's kind of a real erotic feeling to sharpen a pencil. It's like cat sex. I'm glad to have you guys enter my room. Of all the people I could have in my room, I really want you guys most of all. You're fun the way you sit there observing me, contemplating me. That's the thing, you know? Well, I guess I could talk about concepts, but so many philosophers have already talked about the idea of having ideas and the role of concepts and what it means to have ideas and concepts. How one must do have a type of sophisticated eye to see a gap in what is currently known, and then be able to fill that gap with an idea that comes to mind. Alright. The right people in the right room. That's right, all the time. Smooth, cool jazz. Welcome back to the show. Today on the show, we have Mike Fell. He's a painter, illustrator, and kind of a philosopher of horseshit. Now, Mike, tell us, how did you first realize that you were full of shit? Well, Jim, it was a while back when I was on YouTube. I put forth a proposition that suffering didn't suck and that life wasn't an imposition. And other people said that I was full of shit. And so even though I didn't, really think I was full of shit, I just kind of took on the role of being full of shit because it, it seemed to match some of my parodies and other funny sort of approaches to things, things in my mind. Well, Mike, do you think that perhaps you actually are full of shit? Or, is there any possible way that you would consider the idea that your ideas are bullshit? Well, I thought a lot about that, Jack, and I decided that I'll leave it up to the viewer to decide whether or not I'm full of shit or not. I don't really want to take on the responsibility of saying that I am, and I don't really want to people to think that I'm more sophisticated than or learned than I actually am. Doesn't it doesn't help me in the philosophy clubs, the chess clubs that I go to. You know, you don't make much headway, Jack, when you just out of the gate, claim that you're full of shit. Let other people know that you think that you're full of shit. Right on, Mike. Well, that was a long, convoluted answer that we really didn't have time to listen to, and so let's play some music. Baby, baby, I want my baby back, the baby back. I like my flapjacks under my jacket. I like my flapjacks, my milkies, my Wonder Muffins, baby back. I like my flapjacks. Well, now we're back in the studio with Mike Will. He's an illustrator artist and bullshit commentarist. Mike, what would you say you like most about your Tiny Chat guests? I like how they sit there and they shut up. They do their own thing and they observe when they want and they participate strictly in a by passive means. And overall, I think I like them mostly because they leave me hanging. They leave me hanging out to dry, and that idea of being hung out to dry, it helps you identify with what it is to be alone in the world and live in the alone states where you have to do things on your own. And so yeah, I like how they just remain quiet for the most part. That way I don't really have to get to know them and develop any kind of responsible relationship with anybody because what the hell, who really wants to do that anyway? I mean, it's just another human. It's just an evolved, complex beast on the other side of the camera. Okay, Mike, that was another convoluted answer that we really didn't have time for, but well, I guess we do have a long show today. Yeah, most of your commentary, Mike, seems to run about, what, an hour and 15 minutes? Yeah, that's right, Jack. About an hour and 15 minutes. So, Mike, in regards to your burning experience, perhaps what you experienced was just chemicals firing in your head? Our emotions can serve an evolutionary purpose. Well, I thought about that. It's just that, Jack, sometimes sometimes you have really emotional thoughts about things, but they don't generally reoccur in in such a demanding way. They feel normally emotions just kind of arise inside and you recognize them as emotions, like depression or excitement, but this burning sensation I had was, it felt as if something was tapping into my center, like injecting a needle into me, and wanting, wanting to harm me. And it was quite a scary experience. I don't know how others would feel if there was any way that I could possibly get them to experience the same kind of experience that I had gone through there. All I can say, Jack, is that it was enough to think I was actually going to die, so I started giving away money and writing a will and thinking about what to do with all of my possessions and started saying goodbye to people and so it was a real notion that death was warming up on me, it was coming to get me, and there wasn't much I could do about it. But I ended up over about a 4-day period, it was kind of released from me. It felt like it released me, and I was no longer directly harmed by the thought. It's just the funny thing about it is that it was almost as if it was a mode of meditation on retrospect, as if you could get yourself in a meditative mode so that something external to you would have allowance to come and burn you and harm you. Um, And I'm not certain how to describe it, but it did feel like kind of an enlightened meditation. Alright, Mike, another long, convoluted, boring answer. I don't know whether or not our audience absolutely appreciates that or not, but that's fine. And my second part of my question was, you know, that emotions can serve an evolutionary purpose, maybe a fight or flight response. Yeah, and as opposed to fight or flight, when it came about, I didn't either. I couldn't fight it because it was internal, and I couldn't really flee anywhere because it was internal. I was just left to go dormant. As a matter of fact, I kind of, at the most extreme point, just laid on my ass. Why, who do we have here? What's up, Buttercup?
What's up?
What are you doing?
Well, I was getting ready to head over to Maverick for a quick snacky and drink. Interested.
Huh. Man, I got another phone call coming in. I don't know if I can make it over there. I'm in the middle of something.
Alright, fine. I understand.
Okay. Yeah.
Asshole.
Right on.
Supposed to
Okay.
bring birthday present, man.
What's that?
You're supposed to be bringing me a wedding birthday present.
Your wife? Did you say your wife?
You're supposed to bring me a wedding anniversary present.
Oh, is that what she's telling you? Is that what?
No, you. You're supposed to bring one.
No, I know, but is your anniversary now or something?
What?
Is your anniversary today or something?
Yeah, it's today.
Oh. Huh.
14 years ago for your painting, Hal. Hanging on my wall.
That's right, man. That's a great ass painting too.
I'll be over there for about 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll keep it in mind. I'm mid recording right now, and as much as you didn't want to be recorded, I'm recording you.
Oh, great, thanks a lot.
Yeah, no
Okay, wonderful, fantastic.
problem. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
This is my bad chariot.
That's my bad cheerio, blood. Alright. That was my homie bro. That was my brother. Babble fishing brother. Alright. Got a whew, kind of a cool character here. Kinda. Some horned beastie with 6 boobies. And the treachery of lust. Lusty treachery. See, that's the other thing about good old Amendum, is he's so lusty, he doesn't recognize his lusty ways as being anti-intuitive for civil expression. But here I am on a YouTube video drawing booblets on my character here. guys up there can't see what I'm drawing. You can't see what I'm drawing the whole time. I don't think you're close enough to seeing what I'm drawing anyway. Unless you're a pro. Unless you got the pro account. Tiny Chat Pro account. And for the most part, people aren't here to see what I draw as much as they are here to listen to the different babble that can go on. Yes, I have tried electronic cigarettes. As a matter of fact, I quit using electronic cigarettes. I mean, I quit by, well, I was using electronic cigarettes when I had this burning sensation, and I was quickly trying to repent from this sensation of soulful burning that I threw out my vaporizer, and yeah, for what it's worth. Now I tell people my religiosity. They'll think that I'm mad. I feel more like a literal theist than most born again Christians, most born again, or most theistic folks. I don't know, some of them just outrightly say, you know, God is real and he affects us, and you know, for those who are aware of his presence, you know, that's the first step, and for those who are not aware of his presence, you know, it's just you got to keep working on it until something shows up that you can't explain or affects you in ways that are abnormal to your regular processes of thinking. But I don't mind people asking me questions or trying to challenge me on my notions. I think that's just Jim Dandy. All right. So she's here. She's got horns. She's got 6 boobs. She's dumping oil into a flame, I guess. Well, she's spitting out some sort of fire. I think that's going to be a good character. That's going to be one of the better characters. And they needed one to kind of solidify the space on this side. There's too many empty gaps. Alright, well, for having 5 more people in the room, it sure is silent. What about you, Wake? Make way for the big fish. Have you used electronic cigarettes? Are you a big electronic cigarette fan? Or are you a smoker at all? You should probably go have a ceremonial cigarette on the tubes while I'm recording, so that upon looking back on this, I'll know that when I was doing this, I was in the midst of smoking. Oh yeah, and that's important. How? How is that important? It just is. It's my excuse for smoking. You know, when I was younger, I would look at women and I would be attracted to women who had thin upper arms. If their upper arms were thin, that was a huge attraction to me. If where their biceps met their shoulder was thinner than the bottom of their bicep, I was just drawn to that. To me, that was like a sign of you know, any women that have that kind of uh, weight distribution on their arms was indicative of never being overweight in the future, or only slightly overweight in the future. And somehow I was really looking at the time for women that had very little weight, just extremely slender women. I don't know, this was in my early 20s, and by my mid 30s, God, I just found myself really attracted to just women with nice hearty bums, just big old bums, somebody that could shake, that just had womanly flesh, feminine flesh on their body. They were just robust, lovely, wobbling creatures. Not wobbling in a, you know, super obese sense by any means. Just nice weight. Kind of the same, you know, Big Butt song. I said the bees didn't miss Yeah, smoked both types, plus heroin addict for 18 years. Wow. Wow, alcohol for 26 years. Well, that's news for you, Big Fish. I had no idea that I had such an experienced gem in the room. Um, do I think I might be bipolar at all? I felt like bipolarism is a, you know, that's just the first mental step to complete humiliation of the psyche, that one starts to become bipolar. But it wasn't so much bipolar as it was bipersonality. That there was kind of like in Fight Club, a definite duality of personality I was flipping back and forth from. And at the time, I guess I was considering that bipolar, but on retrospect, I'm like, no, because it took a while for one to recognize the other, but the other recognized the one, and it was a real adjustment in behavior. Like one took over and the other one didn't. One spoke to me in a different way than the other one could speak to me. And then to get rid of that, I had to annihilate my internal monologue altogether, a complete breakdown of the psyche. You know, for all psychiatric descriptions of personality, because people still want to appeal to, you know, medicine and chemicals to describe, you know, phenomenon of the consciousness, and so they appeal to definitional, prospects of what constitutes a type of personality, and I think there, you know, it's good to have that kind of outlook on, you know, an attempt to understand other people's conscious states, their psychological happenings. But for the most part, when someone asks if you're bipolar, it's already framed in the matter of a psychiatric illness. You know, but I mean, you could have asked, do I feel like I was a shaman or a madman or a lunatic? And I'm more likely to say yes to that than I am to say I'm bipolar. My psychiatric um, diagnosis is schizoaffective. Schizoaffective disorder. Somebody's like, boy, you sure hide it well. You're very sane for a schizophrenic. I'm like, yeah, but when it hits me, it comes and takes me away. Does its thing. And I'm kind of nowhere to be found mentally. And yes, I do want to share that on an hour-long video. Oh, could you explain why you may have seen these things? Could I explain why I could have seen these things? Well, number one, they could have been there, which then questions like how are you able to see the screen of your computer because you granted a there-ness. And number two, for the things that I saw where nobody else was there to agree with me about their presence, I could sum it up to a psychiatric condition. But instead of that, I purposely painted a guy looking in his rearview mirror here because when I saw this red star, the one that I mentioned in the previous video, that red jellyfish-like star, and I drove under it, I remember looking at it in my rearview mirror and confirming that it was actually there, that it wasn't just something I projected in front of me. It was something that was able to ricochet in my mirror. And so either it was there, and then if it was there, did I conjure it? Am I like a channel for it, a vessel? Am I interactive in some way? Am I attuned to it? When the student is ready, does the teacher come? Was it like teaching me something, guiding me, transforming me? Were they portals or simply presences or interactions? I could not tell you. I could not tell you that. But yeah, two different instances: an orb and a ball, not a ball of lightning, but a red jellyfish hovering, kind of this. It was this long red jellyfish, kind of electronic looking. I have it illustrated over there, that I have in a previous video, recent video that's described as describing a painting. So on the top left is the orb, and on the top right is the red jellyfishy looking electronic star thing. I don't really like talking about it more so in videos anymore, but this one I guess it's going up, so sorry to do that to you people. I don't want to sound too reiterative, you know. Don't want to sound like I'm completely, I don't know, obsessed about these past experiences. Is partially painting them was a way to, okay, now I've solidified it in my memory, but I've gotten through it. I can get it out of my head. Let other people think about it. Let's see, what are we drawing here? More flameage on this guy. Knock him down into a whirly little flame man. Yes, you're in hell, buddy. You're up to your ass in lava, but your head needs to be burned off again. Well, make way for the big fish. Like I said, I really appreciate you telling me that because that gives me some insight into who you are, which is always good since you've been partial to showing up to my YouTube videos. I guess I don't have much to say today. Just need to get this guy hollering. We should tilt the head back a little more. Would of course go up. Okay. I have this notion that I'm pissing off interdimensional entities by discussing my interaction with them. Is that weird? Is that a weird thing to say? If you guys saw this shit too, I think you would go psychopathic. Just blow your head out. It just wouldn't blow your hair back, it would blow your whole head off. And then at one point I thought, okay, now I get it. Everybody sees these things. They're just keeping them secrets from me and from one another. They're not speaking about it because the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. First rule of seeing these things, you don't talk about these things. So I was like, okay, that's what I need to do is shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. And then the whole idea of a painting and philosophy channel came up, or series came up, and why, well, Plum got a great idea. Alright, well, we're at an hour and 3 minutes. I think instead of smoking on this one, I'll just end this one since I'm more or less talking about nothing particular. And, you know, I hope you guys liked what I was drawing because it's got the camera a little closer to it. I'll stay in Tiny Chat. I can do that for a while longer. And if somebody docks or, you know, there's just momentum in mind for me, I get on a topic I'd like to speak of, then I'll go ahead and hit the record button again. But until then, I'm going to maybe play a little bit more music or look up some things with these guys and talk to them at a little more length. And to my YouTube viewers who are giving me, you know, 16 to 29 views, something like that, you know, it's impressive to me that I record for an hour doing my day-to-day and I get a whole day's worth of views. That's how I look at it. So I don't feel upset by the few views that I have. I feel flattered by it, actually. When I'm when I'm feeling flattered, I feel flattered by it. Put it that way. Anyway, righty row. Oh yeah. Thanks for liking my